All right, so here we are. We are live once again, coming to you from the Modev Studios here in Ballston, Arlington, Virginia. Ballston is a section of Arlington. It's actually growing super fast. And there's a Phil's Coffee here now, so I'm super happy about that. But this is part of our Get to Know Our Speaker series. It's been a lot of fun for me. I think this is maybe about our 20th interview. We have a lot to get to. We have more than 300 speakers this year for Voice Summit, taking place July 22nd through 25th in Newark, New Jersey. If you have not visited the website yet, voicesummit.ai, go check it out. This is all things voice technology related, development, design, marketing. We'll have more than 300 speakers, and we have about 5,000 people coming from 25 countries. It should be an incredible few days. And this morning, speaking with us is one of our illustrious speakers, Emily Binder of Beetle Moment Marketing. Emily, good morning.
Good morning, Pete.
So my first question to you is, we gotta go into this name, Beetle Moment Marketing. Tell us what's behind the name there.
I'm the only person that I think knows what it really means. And if you Google it, I'm the top search result, which is kind of the reason it all worked out as far as naming my business. It relates to Jungian psychology. So I was a psych major, and I was always really interested in synchronicity. So there's a story where Carl Jung had a patient in his office in Vienna, and she was very logical and difficult to reach and didn't understand the idea of the collective unconscious. And she was talking about this dream that she had, and she was saying there was a golden scarab, and my husband gave it to me, and she's got her eyes closed on the couch telling Carl Jung all about this dream. And then right at that moment, there was like a tap, tap on the window, and then it was exactly the beetle that she had described in the dream. He opened the window, he grabbed it, and he said, "Open your eyes, here's your beetle." And I heard the story, and I started experiencing beetle moments in my own life. And then I thought, this is kind of what it's like when you have this perfect alignment with marketing and an experience for customers. And there's something a little more than a coincidence. There's just something powerful to that. So,
wow.
When you name it,
I love it. I love it. I think that's one of the coolest company naming stories I've heard in a while.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, it's got. It definitely relates. I think when you do make those connections that are a little more esoteric and things sort of make sense. So very, very cool. Tell us a little bit of what you focus on as an organization.
All voice. So I have over a decade of general digital marketing experience. I've done tons of content strategy, social, all of that. I still do some of that. What I'm most excited about is voice, and that's what I focus on with Beetle Moment. So long story short, I help my clients establish a presence on voice assistants.
Okay. Well, that's a big task because establishing a presence on a voice assistant does require a lot on the back end. A lot needs to happen before companies can, be discoverable. And if they're going to have a skill it needs to make, or an action or a capsule on Samsung, it needs to make sense. It needs to be part of the bigger story. What would you tell a business that maybe doesn't quite understand this new space yet? What's some of the first things you might say to somebody? You're out there a lot, right? You talk about what you do. You probably talk to folks that haven't really made this plunge yet, but what's one of the first pieces of advice you would give?
Well, it's similar to the early days of the internet when people thought, I don't need a website and no one's going to buy anything online. They're not going to trust credit card data passing through the internet. No, you have to get ahead of the curve, because if you don't, you'll be behind it and someone will eat your lunch. Same thing when social media started. Companies who were late to the game there still haven't caught up. There's nothing as valuable as being early or being first on a platform that becomes ubiquitous. Look at people who had a head start on YouTube or Facebook and how much value that has brought to those companies. Same thing happening now. Like, I don't care about Facebook anymore. I don't care about anything that I was doing 5 years ago. I'm caring about what matters tomorrow. And it's a blue ocean. I say this, like, the rest of the internet is this bloody red sea of sharks. It's polluted, it's crowded. But if you go to voice, there are 10,000 flash briefings. There are over 700,000 podcasts. Why would you go compete where everybody has already just claimed it? Like, started. And the beauty, of course, is it's more convenient for the customer. You reduce friction, you reduce hassle and anxiety. you will always get that transaction or that brand affinity from that customer. Nobody wants something that is ergonomically painful. Like, what are we doing with this? You know, I just saw an article that kids are growing horns in the back of their skull because their heads are always bent over onto their phones.
Oh my God.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Emily Binder. I just tweeted this out today. It'll blow your mind.
I will definitely. I can't believe if I'm not, that is my bad. But definitely we're gonna fix that. So Emily, you've got a couple of sessions taking place. I'm gonna do a quick screen share here of the sessions that you have, and thank you again so much for joining us at the conference. Let me just share this. It looks like you are on Thursday, July 20th. You're gonna be busy. And you know, one of the things I will say about this conference, it's actually a 4-day conference. We have pre-conference workshops on the 22nd, long form workshops. And then we've got a hackathon that day as well. There's our VIP reception that night, our developer appreciation night that night. And then we got 3 full days of programming. Our day 3 is unlike any day 3 you may see at a conference. It's like, I want to end on a high note, on a crescendo. So, on day 3, you are on the Sonic Branding Sound of Success panel. Great panel. And tell us a little bit about Sonic branding and what folks should know about Sonic branding. They may not have even heard that term before, but tell us what it means.
Well, for so long, brands have focused on visual brand identity, the look and feel of the brand. We think about packaging, websites, everything to do with a visual logo. That all is still extremely important and matters. However, if you think about, let's say at least 30% of searches will be done by voice next year. Some predictions say 50, that's inaccurate. But if a third of people are searching on voice and you don't have any sound of your brand, you only have a look of your brand, what are they going to find? They're going to find nothing, your competitors, or a default generic voice assistant representing your brand. So Sonic branding it's all the things that you do to create the Sonic experience. It's things like your audio logo, any audio marks that are on all forms of media, not just with voice assistants and smart speakers, but if you have TV advertising, if you have radio, if you have a transaction on an app and it makes the sound, right, that's all part of Sonic branding.
We just got new appliances, and the microwave and the oven, you know, they have distinct sounds for different things that they're doing. And it's really interesting. And, you know, there have been brands that have done this for a long time. I think about the Duracell copper top, you know, and that makes a very distinct sound. And, you know, certain brands have done a decent job. You think about the show Law and Order and that big beginning of that series, you know, that opening, you know. But I think it's an area that's fascinating. We're starting a new networking community at Voice Summit. I hope you'll be a part of it. It's called the Sonic Brand Society. The idea is that these are folks that get it, that are going to be coming together to, you know, to really have the discussion about, you know, what's happening. So we'll follow up on that front. You've got another really important panel you're a part of called What is Inclusive Voice Design? And I guess, you know, just, we don't have a lot of time. I wish we had more time, but this is a chance to sort of like, dip our toes in here. What's one of the first things that you think people get wrong about what inclusive voice design is?
I don't know if they even consider it frequently enough when you're designing. Probably the biggest error is not having enough people in the room who represent the diverse people who may end up using whatever you're developing.
Right.
I mean, this is classic design bias stuff. And the cool thing about voice, we have an opportunity because it is so early. I mean, it's not technically early. Like, people have been working on speech recognition since the 70s, but even before then, it is early in the sense that it's becoming more quotidian. The usage is higher than ever. So when we set out to design for voice, I'm thinking about accents, gender, higher pitch, different, regional dialects, things like that.
Right.
So not just people that are in the room and how they might interact with it, but who could possibly need this and how might they summon it? What invocations or commands would they need? So that's part of it. There's an example from their in-car voice assistants, like Buick, for example, actually doesn't recognize women's voices because they never had any women when they tested it. It was all men.
Right.
things like
No,
that.
well, I can, without naming names, I know that my wife has to yell at a voice assistant to be heard, and it's really frustrating, and it's interesting. I think that is, I think your point that people don't consider it is just kind of says it all, right? So I think inclusive voice design is to basically stop before you design, and that's almost like the first thing you've got to get through in order to even get to step 2. Great advice. Emily, we really look forward to seeing you at the end of July. Thanks for being an important part of this event. Thanks for being a part of this community. It's a fascinating time right now as we watch this shift. I went through the .com bubble. I went through the mobile revolution, hence the name MoDev. And here we are with voice, and it feels very familiar. But I would say the way that it doesn't feel familiar is it's moving faster. Now is the time to get in. You may agree with me on that one, Emily.
Yesterday is the time to get in, Pete.
That's right. Yesterday's the time. If you are at all interested in understanding this space from any standpoint, from development, design, marketing, strategy, we have 300 folks coming from around the world to share their knowledge on this space. Many have been in this field for decades. Some have been in it more recently with the arrival of Alexa and Google and Samsung and Cortana and others. But whether you are a small business, work for a major organization, or you're thinking about jumping in and starting your own thing, Voice Summit is the place where you can get started. Go to voicesummit.ai, and if you are a student or you're transitioning or need economic assistance, we have scholarships as well. Please apply for a scholarship. We want to make this the most inclusive event ever in history of the tech space. We're doing our best. Emily, thanks again. Great chatting with you. Great meeting you. I look forward to seeing you in Newark.
You're welcome, Pete. Great to meet you too.
Cheers.